no sugarcoating the fact that the men's basketball team's struggling non-conference. The one thing that I believe needs to be explained is where the program is. People judge programs by the standings. And to me, if you go back, this is a brand new team, right? 9 new players. There literally is only one player on the team who's ever played a second year of Division I ball. The problem is, when you're at an FGCU that's had, 7 out of 8 seasons with 20 wins and all that, the expectations are not to go through a period like this. But if you think about it logically, if ever there's going to be a team that is going to struggle to find its way, it's going to be a young, inexperienced team, and it wasn't a cupcake non-conference schedule. The hope is that this young, inexperienced team finds their groove in ASUN play.
Again, when you have foresight of looking at your schedule, and you would know that Kristen Carlisle is going to get hurt and be out for the full year as your only returning senior and starter, and Brian Thomas, who's your expected starting center, is not going to play with reason the non-conference schedule, we would have scheduled differently. We wouldn't have scheduled at VCU and at St. Louis, and having USC coming up, South Dakota State, amongst other challenging scenarios. So it is within reason what it is. We hope that, as we saw last year, as we got into the conference season, which last year the ASUN was the strongest it's ever been, with Liberty going to the second round, almost to the Sweet 16, and Lipscomb getting to the championship of the NIT. We finished tied for third with a young team that just got better as the year progressed. So we're 0-0 in the ASUN, and that new eternal hope will come about in January. Liberty is certainly the team to beat for everybody, and we open up with them on January 2nd at 5 o'clock, an adjusted time to be on ESPNU. So hopefully we'll get a good energized crowd there, and maybe we can shock the ASUN and get off to a good start by beating the team that everybody's expecting to win the championship.
And as things seem to be going right now, a tough early schedule, opening with Liberty and Lipscomb as your first 2 games. Coach Fly and company, they could use a break. They could also use the guys to find their confidence, and hopefully that'll happen. This team does remind me an awful lot of Andy's first year when he threw the guys to the Wolves. They did a little better from a one-loss standpoint, non-conference. But, Andy threw a bunch of young guys to the Wolves too, and there was no determining how they were going to sink or swim. And it turns out they kind of paddled their way and got into conference play and began to find something.
And I think it's interesting, Brett Comer just reached out to Coach Fly just a week or so ago, just to let him hang in there type of thought, and said, I don't know if people remember. They remember the Sweet 16, but they may not remember that first year and a half as we were working toward that. And I remember there was a kind of a kidding comment from Andy after we beat Georgetown, and Brett had made that signature lob pass for the dunk to Chase, and they'd asked him if he had ever seen that, and he says, yes, I've seen it many times. Usually I catch it. So that's kind of the way it was with a young point guard, in terms of what Brett was, and a lot of people learning early on. And it takes experience. That's why normally veteran teams are the ones that you see make runs in the postseason, and we're far from that. I hope our fans will continue to provide the support that the team needs. They're working hard. They just need to get to a position of strength and get late in the game where they're not looking to lose. They're looking to just find ways to win.
No doubt. I think 4 losses by 6 points or less. Meanwhile, on the women's side, a very experienced team, a confident team coming into the season, and a really good team, and they've put it all together. And this is the best start in program history, which is saying something.
And not only saying something because of the tradition of the program, because of the strength, it's the strongest schedule we've ever played. And, when Carl knew, really within reason, we're going to have to play this kind of schedule because nobody else would play us, and he was having a difficult time filling it out. And the element of going to Cancun, we would have been happy getting 1 win. To go and beat the defending runner-ups in Notre Dame. Granted, they're young, but it's still Notre Dame. Those teams find a lot easier ways to rebuild. A number 20 ranked USF and a Sweet 16 returning team in South Dakota State, who we've played the last several years. We easily understood that you could play great and come back 0-3. To go down there and win the championship, to couple that around a big 20-point win against UCF, who was in the NCAA tournament, a win at Houston by double digits, is really encouraging. It's been something that's been received very well from a national standpoint.
Yes.
Just in terms of no bias with the big media for the big schools, we're ranked 14th in the RPI right now. And our only loss is to a very talented and strong Princeton team who sits there number 5. So, and we still got tough games, and we hope the fans who aren't already planning will work around the holidays and be here when we play LSU on the 19th, and we also host Duke on the 29th, and we have to go to Temple in between. So it's not over yet, but we're really hoping that this will not only prepare us for the ASUN, but it will put us in a position potentially for a much better seed and also potentially an at-large.
Well, and I'm going to be broadcasting that Temple game because I'll be in Philly working the Cowboys-Eagles game. So do FGCU Women at noon. Get on over to the link for the 4:30 kickoff.
So listen to Dave.
Well, that's one way to do it. However, to talk about what FGCU does on the court, have to get to everything that you guys do off
before
the
we
court.
do, I did want to make mention, because it is unique with the women's basketball team, we have 3 individuals on the team who all hit their 1,000-point mark within a short period of time. Naz has done it, UL, with us for all 4 years, but we also have Davion took care of that, I think, first, and then Carrie Jewett-Giles also did it. So just another milestone that I just wanted to give credit to, because it's a unique situation.
And I think there's a chance for another
Yeah,
coming
Ashley,
up here before the
Ashley has a
season,
chance.
is done.